Okay, yes, Coach Tedford here for you. Please ask for the mic before you ask questions. Thank you. And Jeff, how odd does it seem to you, having been here 11 years now, to be preparing for a big game in October? Does it seem somehow wrong?
Well, it's preparation for the big game, which is no different. I don't see anything that feels odd right now, but I think after the game, typically, you know, with that being your last game, it's going to be after the game, I think, which is probably going to feel a little bit different. But it is what it is, and we're excited to play the game, and you know, it's preparation as usual.
Coach, as you've had a lot of time now to digest the decision to change the game, change big games day to now. Has your attitude changed about it? Has it hardened, softened, or a bit about the same since the decision was announced?
I don't really think about it very much. I mean, it is when it is. You know, we're going to prepare, we're going to play. So nothing I can do about it. You know, so it's a little bit awkward. You know, because you normally play your traditional rivalry at the end of the year, but it's not. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, really. I mean, it's, you know, we play Stanford this week. It's a great game, a great tradition. I'm excited to be a part of it. The players are excited, you know, so I don't spend a lot of time worrying about when the game is as of now.
Jeff, your last two games, you say we got the offense on track. What is it about it? It's been inconsistent most of the years, but what is it you think about the offense that seems to be clicking now?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with who you're playing, and you know, we've stayed out a lot of third and longs. You know, we played a lot of close, tight games. You know, and they've been 4-quarter games, and we've been either ahead or within one score in every fourth quarter we've played. So we played a lot of tough football games, and but running the football in the last couple of weeks has been key to really keep us out of a lot of third and longs, because we were in a lot of third and longs early, and that's going to continue to be key. You know, you can't live on 3rd and 10 plus, and so early down success has helped us manage those situations a little bit better.
Coach, obvious storyline this week, 30th anniversary of the play. Is it a chore not to get caught up in that emotion, or are you guys kind of maybe feeding off that emotion?
We will later in the week. You know, it's a little too early right now. The players are really excited to practice today, and I'm sure they will be tomorrow. But, you know, you can't ride a high every single day all week long, but it will build as the week goes on, and all the tradition and all the history and all that is really important. Most guys on the team understand that, what the big game's all about, but there are quite a few young guys and freshmen that don't really understand. It's like when we played UCLA, you know, some guys on the team didn't know who Joe Roth was because they're freshmen, you know, so every year there's always a history lesson that goes into the big game, and make sure everybody appreciate what it stands for and all the other people who've run through that tunnel to play it.
Jeff, can you talk about defending Stanford's offense and what the priority is? It looks like Washington and Notre Dame kind of gave everybody a blueprint for maybe how to approach it. And how important is it to try to stop that run, and how well do you think you match up there?
Well, there's no doubt about it. They lead with the run. They're a power run game. They're very patient with it. They don't give up on it. And, you know, and their defense plays extremely well, which allows them to stay patient with the run game. And so it's going to be a physical football game, as it always is. They're physical up front. Their backs run really hard. They get a lot of different formations to be able to run the ball with big people. But as soon as you think you're going to get in there and stop the run, then there goes the play action with the tight end. So it's key that we stay disciplined with our eyes, but that we're physical at the point of attack and we tackle well.
Hi, Coach. Since you've been a part of this rivalry, I'm just curious what memories stick out in your mind, whether on the field, off the field, during the weeks, since you've been a part of it.
You know, I don't know. There's been a lot 11th won, so there's been a lot of great memories. It, you know, I think one of the best would be the very first one, because Cal hadn't won it in a long time, and so that was an exciting, and for that team, because that's the year that the team couldn't go to a bowl game even though we were eligible, so that was our last game, and I just remember, and sometimes when I walk by and I see the pictures on the wall of Kyle Bowler being carried off the field and the goalpost coming down and all that type of stuff, it was a great environment. And so I think that will be a memory, you know, both of the big game and just a Memorial Stadium environment that was really special.
Coach, you mentioned earlier it's all about who you're playing, the defense you're playing. The past two defenses have been ranked, I think, 57th and 76th in run defense. Stanford's physical. They're ranked number 7 in the country. And, yeah, you guys ripped off over 500 yards against those previous two teams. What do you guys have to do better against a really physical front?
Well, you're not going to run through these guys. You know, you're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to run hard. We're going to have to sustain blocks. You know, no one just runs up and down the field on these guys. You know, they're very physical. They have a very good scheme. A lot of seniors, very experienced group. And so, but you can't abandon it either, you know. So it's going to be a physical game. And as they're patient with their run, we're going to need to be patient with our run as well. And you're gonna make some, and sometimes they're gonna make their plays, you know, because they're very experienced and they're big and they're physical and they're very good at stopping the run. And so they're very good as a whole defensively. So it, you know, it's going to be hard work. It's going to have to be a physical football game. We're going to have to break some tackles here and there.
There's some of your better teams had the defense played with a real edge, and didn't really seem apparent the first month or so of the season that the team had that defensive edge. But the last couple of games, they really seem to be playing hard, you know, knocking guys around and playing real physical. Do you sense that the team sort of turned a corner in that sense?
Well, I think we got a little bit healthier. You know, way back, you know, we really couldn't in camp. We couldn't really practice the last week and a half because we had no defensive linemen healthy. You know, so it was we had to get some guys healthy to be able to play. And then I think the addition of Avery and Michael Lowe in there has really created a spark for us. Those guys are flying around, playing really well. And then the young backers have been playing well, you know, and that's with experience when you have Nick Forbes and Jalen Jefferson. Those guys.
We're going to do some wireless mics, you guys.
Good idea, Kyle.
Yeah.
Or prove that someone in here is a cyborg.
So really, I think with some of those guys, you know, some of the defensive linemen getting back, and we've still gone through, you know, some injuries there at D-line up and down through the year. But I think with Forbes and Jalen and I think we've been playing more aggressive too. I think Clancy's plan has been more aggressive than earlier in the year, and I think that seems to be working well.
Jeff, let's talk about the two quarterbacks. And Zach seems to have settled in, had a couple of great games. And then if you would talk a little bit about Josh Nunez, who's also kind of new to the scene.
Yeah, well, Josh is, you know, Josh is very capable. He's a great young man. He's highly competitive. I was really impressed with his Arizona game to be able to keep bringing them back like he did. You know, so he's a very good player, and he has a good group of guys around him. Zach has been playing well. He's managed the game well, and you know, really, for the most part this season, when we've been able to protect him, he's played really well, and so it comes down to being able to give him a chance to set his feet, not have to hurry things. That's the key, you know, really with it, and so it's going to be very important that we're able to protect him. As any quarterback needs, but you know, he's been efficient with what he's been doing, and it's going to take another really good performance on Saturday.
you see your offensive line is playing better than it has all season. Are they finally getting into a nice cohesive unit?
Yeah, you have a lot of inexperience up there. There's only one guy up there who's ever played before, and that's a center. And so as they've grown, I think they've improved. I think Coach Mahalchuk's done a nice job of bringing them along. And you have to look at all the other guys around it, the tight ends. When you look at everything that goes into run blocking and pass protection, it's a lot of guys there, and so the line and the tight ends been out quite a bit with injury, and so they're new as well. But yeah, I think they've worked together well and have done a good job. We're going to get a true test this weekend.
Jeff,
you're not going to play many better fronts or defenses than this group.
you mentioned Nunes in the game against Arizona. Obviously, he had terrific numbers and brought them back. There's been some other games where he hasn't been as effective. Is there a common thread there with what you want to try to do against him to throw him off his game?
I don't know. It's important always, as any quarterback, to try to get some pressure on them, not let them. They haven't been sacked. I think they've only been sacked 6 times all year. So they do a good job of protecting him, and he does a good job of getting rid of the ball. So it's hard to get to him, but you like to try to put, as any team, not just him or them, but as any team, you try to get some. You can't let the quarterback have all day to throw the ball. So. Got to make sure that we're covering and that we're trying to get some pressure on them.
Is it a different kind of offense to defend because they really rely on their tight ends so much more than their wideouts? Their wideouts have not been productive for them.
Yeah, it's not that they're not capable. Anyone's capable on their team to make big plays, but yeah, they're different offenses. That's the thing about this conference. You go from a 2-back set at USC to a spread of Arizona State and Washington State and UCLA, and now you're back to a big, heavy, downhill run game with play action pass. So it is different, there's no doubt, of the teams that we've been playing over the last few weeks.
You referenced earlier Avery Sebastian. He knocked 2 Washington State players out of the game on Saturday. Has he always had that quality? Have you always known that he really brings a physical nature to the safety position? Yeah,
he flies around. There's no doubt about it that Avery is a very competitive guy. He runs with the ball really well, and so it's nice to see that he's brought some aggression there and running the alleys and making tackles and doing things. He really hustles. I mean, you watch him run around the field. He's always running. He gives great effort, and so it's been a nice addition to have him out there.
How's Mark Anthony?
Mark Anthony's fine.
Okay. Did you come out of the game reasonably healthy?
Yeah.
CJ's all right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what are we in? We're in our 8th game of the year with no bye. And we play a lot of physical, tough games. So, there's going to be bumps and bruises and soreness, and so, we got home at 5 o'clock in the morning from Washington State, and so I gave him Sunday off to be able to recover a little bit and just get treatment and get some rest so that we could be ready to practice today.
How was today's practice?
It was great.
Okay, any further questions?
Are you managing practice as you go forward without a bye? Are you managing, other than giving them Sunday off, any differently than you would because you have to?
Well, the only reason we gave him Sunday off this week was because we got home at 5 in the morning. So it was a long trip, and to turn around and have to bring him back here in the afternoon, it just felt like they needed to get some rest. And but as far as practice is concerned, as the season goes on, yeah, we're shortening some of the periods and some of the individual work that we've been doing all year long, making sure that we're getting the things that are needed, but trying to get them off their feet a little bit, and not bang them so much at this time of the year. It's, you know, there has been no break, and like I said, they've all been physical football games, and so, you know, just trying to cut back a little bit so that they can stay fresh and ready for the game, not leave it on the practice field, but make sure we're ready to take it to the game.
Your defensive line will be, you'll have nearly everyone available.
As of today, tomorrow's a whole new day. You never know.
Last week you were able to kind of stretch the edge a little bit and maybe run away from long. Stanford has guys on both sides and on both the outside edges that can do some damage. Does that put more importance on running between the tackles in the A and the B gaps?
Well, they're pretty physical inside too. You know, there's really no softness in that defense. You know, their linebackers are very experienced, and there is no softness in the defense. You know, we're going to have to block them, and you know, we're going to have to run through some tackles, and we're going to have to be physical and protect the football. And you know, it's going to be a physical football game.
30 years ago, did you think it was a legitimate touchdown?
Excuse me?
30 years ago, the play, do you think it was?
Oh, the play? Of course it was a legitimate touchdown. What kind of question is that? And my buddy Kevin Maughan, we played in the Shrine game together, and that's how I watched the game, because we played in the Shrine game together in high school, and so I was sitting in a hotel in Vegas getting ready to play UNLV, and I noticed the Cal game was on, so I was just waiting for our game, so I was watching it, and all of a sudden I want to see what Kevin was doing, right? And there he goes and scores probably the most famous play in college football history. So it was pretty cool to watch him do that.
You taught him all that in the Shrine game?
Excuse me?
You taught him all that stuff?
No, not at all. He was on defense and I was on offense, obviously, but that's where we met and became friends, you know, at the Shrine game.
But watching that play live, I mean, what was your reaction? You know, you watching TV, I guess?
Well, it was just kind of wow, you know, you couldn't really figure out what was going on. You know, so there was a lot of things about that game, because Elway was in that Shrine game with us. He was the quarterback for the North and I was the quarterback for the South, and so it was seeing him and seeing Kevin, and so seeing Kevin go in for the touchdown was really exciting. But at that point, you never really knew, you know, what kind of impact or what kind of history that had made, you know, and I think it's been voted, at least the things I've seen, as, you know, the most famous play in college football. So pretty cool that Kevin was a part of it.
What year would that have been for the Shrine game?
That was in 1979.
And that was the North-South Shrine,
Yeah,
and being played at, where is it, Rose
it
Bowl?
was in the Rose Bowl.
Who won that game?
Well, Elway was playing quarterback for them, and I was playing quarterback for me. So for us, so you could probably figure that out. He ran no huddle offense up and down the field, and I think almost broke Ferragamo's record.
And you just happened to
I just happened to be there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, last thing on that, Coach, I mean, so when you and Kevin finally talked about that play, I mean, he runs over the band guy and all that, did he have any funny reaction to you about it?
No, actually, I hadn't talked to him about it, you know, because I had a game that night, and then, you know, so really, I think the first time that I had the chance to come in contact with him again is when I got to Cal, and so, you know, as he was around here and had a chance to bump into him again. You know, I mean, we played on the same team. It wasn't like we were, you know, we called each other on the phone every week, but it was, we just knew each other, and so it was exciting when I got to Cal to bump into Kevin for the first time. I thought, you know, and be able to reminisce about not only the game, but also, of course, the prominence of that play. The play.
Okay, anything else yet? Okay,